The Omega's scream still echoed in Hansel's head. He stood at the floor-to-ceiling window of their penthouse, watching the city lights blur while his twin brother poured whiskey with shaking hands. The bedroom door was still open. The sheets were still pulled back, and they were alone again. "I'm sorry," the Omega had gasped, scrambling for his clothes. "I can't. You're both. Oh God, you're like animals." Jae-kyung had tried to explain, to calm him down, but he'd seen the fear in Ya-kyung's eyes and it made everything worse. "Please," he'd whispered, backing toward the door. "Don't come near me. You're beasts." The door had slammed. His footsteps had echoed down the hallway, and the twins were left standing in their bedroom like criminals. "That's 9, Ye-kyung said quietly, downing his drink. Hansel didn't turn from the window. 9 Omegas in 4 months. 9 different reactions that all ended the same way. Terror, disgust, pity wrapped in polite excuses. "We should stop trying," Hansel said. "We're not broken." "Then why does everyone run?" Jae-kyung slammed his glass down. "Because they're cowards. Because they see us and think—" His voice cracked. "They think we're monsters." Hansel finally looked at his twin. They were identical in every way. Same sharp features, same build, same curse that made them powerful and utterly alone. Their father had called it a gift. Their genetics, their alpha dominance, everything designed to make them superior. But no one wanted superior. They wanted safe, manageable, human. "Victor called," Jae-kyung said after a long silence. "He has a name. I don't want another. This one's different. Works at an exclusive club downtown. High-end clients only. And according to Victor's contact, he doesn't run. Ever." Hansel laughed bitterly. "They all run eventually. Victor says this Omega has a reputation. Boundaries like steel. Doesn't drink. Doesn't do anything he doesn't choose to do. The clients call him untouchable." Jae-kyung paused. "And he's survived worse than us." Something in those words made Hansel turn. Hope. Dangerous, stupid hope flickering in his twin's eyes. "What's his name?" "Kang Yeonwoo." Across the city, Yeonwoo wiped down the bar and ignored the alpha staring at him from table 12. The club was packed tonight. Wall Street executives, old money trust funds, tech billionaires pretending to slum it. The kind of men who thought wealth bought anything. Yeonwoo had learned early that money only bought what you were willing to sell, and he'd stopped selling pieces of himself 8 years ago. "You working or daydreaming?" Min-jae, the other bartender, nudged him. Yeonwoo glanced at table 12. The alpha was still watching. Expensive suit, wedding ring, familiar desperation in his eyes. Yeonwoo had seen 1,000 just like him. "Neither," Yeonwoo said. "Your shift ends in 20. Taking any appointments?" "No." Min-jae raised an eyebrow. "You haven't taken one in 3 weeks. Management's getting twitchy. High-value clients keep asking for you specifically." Yeonwoo said nothing. Let them ask. He'd built this life carefully. Boundaries, distance, control. The moment he broke his own rules was the moment everything shattered. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Beck Industries CEOs request your presence tomorrow evening. Private residence. Name your price." Yeonwoo stared at the screen. Beck Industries. Everyone in New York knew that name. Twin CEOs who'd turned their inheritance into an empire. Corporate royalty. The kind of alphas who didn't visit places like this, which meant they wanted something specific. He should delete it. Block the number. Remember what happened when he let himself believe in anything permanent. Instead, he typed, "I don't negotiate through text. They want to meet, they come here first." The reply came instantly. "They'll be there in 1 hour." Yeonwoo's hands trembled slightly. He set the phone down and breathed through the sudden tightness in his chest. This was a mistake. He could feel it. But something about the directness, the lack of games, made him curious. One meeting. Just to see. When the Beck twins walked into the club 53 minutes later, conversation stopped. They moved like apex predators, matching black suits that cost more than most people's rent. Same height, same cold, beautiful faces, same presence that made other alphas step aside without conscious thought. But Yeonwoo saw past the performance. The way Hansel's jaw was too tight, the rigid set of Ye-kyung's shoulders, the careful space they maintained around themselves, like proximity to others might break something fragile. They weren't just powerful, they were terrified. Minji whistled low. Holy shit, those are the Baek twins. What are they doing here? Looking for me, Yanwu said quietly. He walked toward them before he could change his mind. Their eyes locked on him simultaneously, and something electric crackled through the air. Recognition, not of faces but of something deeper. Something that made Yanwu's instinct scream danger, even as his feet kept moving. You're Yanwu, Hansel said. Not a question. You wanted to meet, Yanwu replied. So talk. Jae-kyung's gaze traveled over him slowly, not leering, assessing. Somewhere private. Yanwu led them to one of the VIP booths in the back. Soundproof, expensive. The kind of place where secrets got traded like currency. They sat across from him, and up close, they were even more striking. But it was their eyes that caught him. Old eyes. Eyes that had survived something that should have broken them. He knew those eyes. He saw them in the mirror every morning. We have a proposition, Hansel began. I don't do anything I haven't agreed to first. Yeonwoo cut him off. And I don't negotiate my boundaries. If that's a problem, leave now. Jae-kyung smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. It was the smile of someone recognizing a kindred spirit. We're not here to negotiate, Jae-kyung said. We're here because everyone told us you're the one Omega in the city who doesn't run scared. We want to know if that's true. Yeonwoo's pulse quickened. Run from what? The twins exchanged a glance. Something passed between them. Permission maybe, or resignation. From us, Hansel said quietly. And in those two words, Yeonwoo heard everything they weren't saying. The shame, the loneliness, the desperate hope that maybe just once, someone would stay. He should walk away. He should remember the last time he let himself believe in safety. Instead, he leaned forward. I've survived worse than two pretty alphas with trust issues, Yeonwoo said. Try me. Show me. The twins stared at Yeonwoo like he'd spoken another language. You don't understand what you're asking, Hansel said carefully. Yeonwoo leaned back in the booth, arms crossed. You came here because you want someone who won't run. So stop dancing around it and show me what they ran from. Jae-kyung's breath caught. Here. Your place. Now. Either you're serious about this or you're wasting my time. The directness seemed to shake something loose in both of them. Hansel pulled out his phone and typed something quickly. 30 seconds later, a black car pulled up outside the club's entrance. Yeonwoo stood. Let's go. The car ride was suffocating. Yeonwoo sat across from the twins in the back of the town car, watching the city lights blur past tinted windows. Neither of them spoke. The air between them felt charged, like lightning waiting to strike. He could smell them now, really smell them. Alpha scent, rich and dark, with something underneath that made his pulse quicken. Cedar and smoke, power wrapped in restraint. His body responded before his mind could catch up. Heat prickling along his spine, slick beginning to gather. He pressed his thighs together and forced his breathing steady. Hansel noticed. Of course he did. His eyes tracked the movement, and something hungry flickered across his face before he looked away. You can still change your mind, Jae-kyung said quietly. We'll take you back. No questions. I don't change my mind once I've decided something, Yeonwoo replied. The car pulled up to a building that screamed old money. Doorman, marble lobby, private elevator that required a key card. The twins led him inside without a word, and Yeonwoo felt the walls closing in as the elevator climbed. 43rd floor. The doors opened directly into their penthouse. Yeonwoo stepped inside and tried not to react. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Manhattan. Furniture that belonged in magazines. Everything sleek and cold and perfect. Everything except the twins, who looked like they wanted to crawl out of their own skin. Drink? Hansel offered. I don't drink. Right, Victor mentioned that. Hansel poured himself whiskey anyway. His hands shook slightly. Jae-kyung stood by the window, staring out at nothing. The tension radiating off both of them was painful to watch. Are you going to make me ask again? Yeonwoo said. Hansel drained his glass, set it down, looked at his twin. Some silent communication passed between them. The bedroom, Jae-kyung finally said. Well, just follow us. They led him down a hallway into a massive bedroom. King bed, dark sheets, lights dimmed low. It should have felt romantic. Instead, it felt like walking into an execution. The twins stood side by side facing him. Identical expressions of resignation. Last chance, Hansel said. Show me. They started undressing. Slow, methodical, shirts first, revealing identical builds, lean muscle, broad shoulders, skin Yeonwoo wanted to put his mouth on, then belts, then pants, and then Yeonwoo understood why 9 Omegas had run. They were big, not just big, overwhelming, the kind of size that made Yeonwoo's body clench in automatic fear, even as heat flooded through him. The twins stood there, exposed and vulnerable, waiting for the inevitable, waiting for him to make an excuse and leave, waiting to be called beasts again. Yeonwoo's heart was pounding so hard he could hear it. His mouth had gone dry. Every instinct screamed that this was impossible, that his body couldn't handle this, that he should run. But he'd survived worse than fear. He'd survived things that would break most people. He'd learned how to look at impossible situations and find a way through them anyway. 2 alphas with size issues? That wasn't even close to his worst nightmare. You're staring, Jae-kyung said, voice tight. Yeah, Yeonwoo managed. I am. We understand if... Shut up. Yeonwoo took a step forward, then another, close enough to feel the heat radiating off their skin, close enough to smell the hope and fear mixing in their scent. You're not running, Hansel whispered. I told you, I don't run. Jae-kyung's breath hitched. Yeonwoo, is this why they called you Beast? Yeonwoo asked. His voice came out rougher than intended. Both twins flinched like he'd struck them. Yes, Hansel said. Yeonwoo reached out slowly, gave them time to stop him. They didn't move. His fingers brushed Jae-kyung's chest, feeling the rapid heartbeat underneath. You're not beasts, Yeonwoo said quietly. You're just alphas who got dealt a shit hand in the genetics lottery. You can't, Hansel started. Can't what? Handle you. Yeonwoo's scent spiked, slick and want flooding the air between them. You don't know what I can handle. The effect was immediate. Both twins went rigid, pupils blowing wide as they scented his arousal. Not fear, not disgust. Want. Oh God, Jae-kyung breathed. Yeonwoo's body was trembling now, but not from terror. From the sheer intensity of being this close, of feeling their alpha presence surrounding him, of knowing what came next. Once we start, Hansel said, voice strained, we won't be able to stop. No one's ever stayed long enough for us to... Then maybe you should stop talking, Yeonwoo interrupted. He reached for Hansel this time, fingers tracing the line of his jaw. The alpha closed his eyes like the touch hurt. Jae-kyung moved closer, bracketing Yeonwoo between them. The scent of all three mixing made Yeonwoo dizzy, made him want things he'd sworn he'd never want again. Are you sure? Jae-kyung whispered against his ear. Yeonwoo turned his head, close enough to feel breath on his lips. His phone vibrated violently in his pocket. Once, twice, 3 times in rapid succession. Emergency signal. Yeonwoo's entire body went cold. He pulled back, fishing the phone out with shaking hands. 7 missed calls from the club. 3 texts from Minjae. Emergency. Need you back now. Don't ask questions. Just come. I have to go, Yeonwoo said. The twins stared at him. The shift in the room was instant and brutal. What? Hansel's voice had gone flat. I'm sorry, I have to. There's an emergency at the club. I need to leave. Jae-kyung stepped back like Yeonwoo had slapped him. Right, of course. No, it's not, Yeonwoo tried. It's fine. Hansel cut him off. His face had shuddered completely. We'll call you a car. I'm not running, Yeonwoo said desperately. This is real. Look at the messages. But Jae-kyung had already turned away, reaching for his discarded clothes. You don't owe us an explanation. I do. Because this isn't... The car will be downstairs in 2 minutes, Hansel said coldly. You should go. Yeonwoo looked between them. Both twins were getting dressed with mechanical precision, walls slamming back into place. All the vulnerability from moments ago had vanished, replaced by the same corporate mask they'd worn in the club. They thought he was lying, thought this was just an elaborate escape plan, Thought he was running after all. His phone buzzed again. Where are you? Yunwoo's chest felt like it was caving in. I'll come back. Tomorrow. We can… Don't, Jae-kyung said quietly. Just don't. Yunwoo wanted to scream, wanted to throw his phone across the room and prove he wasn't like the others. But Minjae wouldn't use the emergency signal unless something was seriously wrong. I'm sorry, Yunwoo whispered. Neither twin looked at him. He left. The elevator ride down felt like drowning. By the time Yunwoo reached the lobby, his phone was ringing again. Where the hell are you? Minjae's voice was panicked. There's someone here asking about you. Says he knows you. Says you owe him something from a long time ago. Yunwoo's blood turned to ice. What does he look like? Korean, late 30s, expensive suit. And Yunwoo? Minjae's voice dropped to a whisper. He smells like accelerant. The world tilted. The man waiting in the club's back office smelled like gasoline and old smoke. Yunwoo stopped in the doorway, every muscle in his body locking up. He knew that face. Older now, lines around the eyes that hadn't been there before, but the same cold smile that had haunted his nightmares for 8 years. Yunwoo-ya? The man said softly. It's been a long time. Minjae hovered behind Yunwoo, clearly sensing the tension. You want me to call security? No, Yunwoo managed. His voice sounded distant, like it belonged to someone else. Leave us. Minjae hesitated, then left. The door clicked shut. The man stood slowly, hands in the pockets of his expensive suit. You've done well for yourself. Escort work, nice cover. No one asks too many questions in this line of work, do they? What do you want? Yunwoo's hands were shaking. He shoved them in his pockets. I want to talk about that night. The fire. Do you remember the fire, Yunwoo? Ice flooded Yunwoo's veins. I don't know what you're talking about. No, because I remember it very clearly. The screams, the smell of burning wood, the way the whole place went up like it was soaked in lighter fluid. The man stepped closer. 7 people died that night. Did you know that? 7. Yunwoo's throat closed. He couldn't breathe. Couldn't think past the roaring in his ears. I was one of the lucky one, the man continued. Got out with just some burns. Spent 6 months in the hospital. But I never forgot your face, the way you looked when you ran. I didn't what? Didn't mean for it to happen? Didn't know how fast fire spreads? The man's smile vanished. I don't care about your excuses. I care about my silence. There it was, the real reason for this visit. How much? Yunwoo asked. Smart boy. Always were quick. The man named a figure that made Yunwoo's stomach drop. Every penny he'd saved. 8 years of careful budgeting, of saying no to extras, of planning for a future he'd never really believed in. That's everything I have. I know. Yunwoo pulled out his phone with numb fingers, opened his banking app. The man watched as he transferred the entire amount, years of his life disappearing in seconds. There, Yunwoo said. We're done. Not quite. The man pocketed his phone, checking the transfer. You're going to quit this job, tonight, and then you're going to leave the city. What? You heard me. Money buys my silence for now, but I don't want to see your face around here anymore. You disappear, or I start talking to people who'd be very interested in knowing where the Omega from that fire ended up. I have a life here. You have nothing. You're an escort with a body count. The only reason you're still breathing is because no one's connected the dots yet. The man leaned in close enough that Yunwoo could smell the smoke that seemed permanently embedded in his skin. Give your notice. Pack your things. Be gone by the end of the week. And if I don't? Then I make some calls, maybe to the families of the people who died, maybe to the police, maybe to those 2 alpha CEOs you left in such a hurry tonight. The man's smile returned. How do you think they'd feel knowing what you really are? Yunwoo's chest felt like it was caving in. You followed me. I've been watching you for weeks. Wanted to make sure you had something worth taking before I approached. Turns out you do. So here's how this works. You disappear. I keep quiet. Everyone wins. Please. You've got until Sunday. After that, I start making calls. The man walked out, leaving Yunwoo standing alone in the office with nothing but the sound of his own heartbeat. 48 hours later, Yanwu sat in a diner booth, nursing cold coffee he couldn't afford. He'd quit the club, given no explanation beyond a family emergency. Minji had looked at him like he'd lost his mind, but Yeonwoo couldn't risk staying. Couldn't risk the man making good on his threats. His savings account showed $17. His apartment was paid through the end of the month, but he couldn't go back there. The man knew where he lived, knew everything. Yeonwoo had spent the last 2 nights moving between bus stations and 24-hour diners, sleeping in booths when the staff wasn't looking, washing up in public restrooms. He'd done this before. 8 years ago, when he'd first escaped. He could do it again. Except this time, he had nothing left. No job, no money, no plan. His phone buzzed, unknown number. Just checking in, hope you're packing. Yeonwoo deleted the message and ordered another coffee with money he didn't have. 3 days after leaving the twins' penthouse, Yeonwoo found himself outside the Baek Industries building. He hadn't meant to come here. He'd been walking, trying to stay warm, trying to figure out his next move. But his feet had carried him to their part of the city anyway. Pathetic. That's what he was. Broke, homeless, and standing outside the building of 2 alphas who thought he'd played them. He should leave, should disappear like the man wanted, should stop hoping for things he didn't deserve. Then the doors opened. Hansel and Yae-kyung walked out, flanked by assistants and security, corporate armor firmly in place. They looked untouchable. Perfect. Everything Yeonwoo could never be. Yeonwoo turned to leave before they saw him. Yeonwoo! He froze. Footsteps behind him. Fast. Then Hansel was in front of him, eyes wide with something Yeonwoo couldn't name. What happened to you? Hansel's voice cracked on the last word. Yeonwoo looked down at himself. 3-day-old clothes. Unwashed hair. The hollowness that came from not eating properly. He looked exactly like what he was. Someone who'd lost everything. Jae-kyung appeared beside his twin, expression shifting from cold anger to shock in seconds. You look, Jae-kyung started. I'm fine, Yeonwoo lied. You're not fine. You look like you haven't slept in days. Hansel reached for him, then stopped. Where have you been? It doesn't matter. It does to us, Jae-kyung said quietly. Yeonwoo laughed. It sounded broken even to his own ears. Why? I ran, remember? Just like all the others. Did you? Hansel asked. Because you don't look like someone who ran. You look like someone who's being hunted. The accuracy of it hit Yeonwoo like a physical blow. I need to go, he whispered. No. Hansel's hand finally made contact, fingers wrapping around Yeonwoo's wrist. Gentle but firm. You're coming with us. You don't understand. Then explain it to us, Jae-kyung said. Because the Omega we met doesn't run without a reason. And whatever that reason is, we want to help. Yeonwoo looked between them, saw genuine concern in their eyes, saw the same vulnerability they'd shown him in their bedroom. He should say no, should protect them from his past, should disappear like he'd been told. Okay, Yeonwoo heard himself say. The hot water felt like forgiveness Yeonwoo didn't deserve. He stood under the shower in the twins' guest bathroom, letting water that didn't cost coins wash away 3 days of bus station grime and fear. The soap smelled expensive. Cedar and something clean. Nothing like the industrial cleaner from public restrooms. His hands shook as he scrubbed his skin raw, trying to wash away more than just dirt. When he finally emerged, clean clothes were laid out on the bed. Soft cotton, black, his exact size. Someone had thought about this. Planned for him to stay. Yeonwoo dressed slowly, buying time before the conversation waiting outside this door. The twins were in the living room when he emerged. They'd changed too. Casual clothes that stripped away their corporate armor. Hansel was making tea. Jae-kyung had ordered enough food to feed 6 people. Sit, Hansel said. Not a command, an invitation. Yeonwoo sat. His stomach growled before he could hide it. Eat first, Jae-kyung said, pushing containers across the coffee table. Everything else can wait. The food disappeared faster than Yeonwoo intended. Real food, not stolen pastries or watered-down diner coffee. When he finally looked up, both twins were watching him with expressions that made his chest tight. When did you last eat? Hansel asked. 2 days ago, maybe 3. Yeonwoo set down his chopsticks. Thank you, but I should leave soon. Where? Jae-kyung's voice was gentle. Back to the streets? The bluntness of it stole Yeonwoo's breath. We're not judging, Hansel added quickly. We want to understand what happened. Why you left our bedroom 3 nights ago and ended up sleeping in bus stations. Yeonwoo's throat closed. He couldn't do this. Couldn't expose himself like this to people who'd already seen too much. But they were looking at him like he mattered, like his answer would change something. I was trafficked, Yeonwoo said quietly, when I was 19, held in a house with other Omegas for months. Both twins went very still. There was a fire. The house burned. 7 people died. Yeonwoo forced the words out mechanically. I escaped. Spent 8 years building a new life. New name. New job. Pretending it never happened. Until someone found you, Hansel finished. Yeonwoo nodded. 3 nights ago, at the club, he survived the fire, recognized me, wanted money to stay quiet. The lie of omission burned in his throat. But he couldn't tell them he'd caused it, couldn't admit that truth. I gave him everything I had, every penny I'd saved. How much? Jae-kyung asked. 8 years' worth. Yeonwoo's laugh was bitter. But it wasn't enough. He wants me gone, out of the city. Said if I don't disappear, he starts talking. To anyone who'll listen to stories about a trafficked Omega. To my ridicule. Silence stretched between them. Heavy, suffocating. Stay here, Hansel said finally. What? Stay. Tonight. Tomorrow. However long you need. Hansel leaned forward. We have security, space, resources. You don't have to do this alone. I can't ask you to. You're not asking. We're offering. Jae-kyung's voice was firm. You stayed when everyone else ran. You looked at us like we weren't monsters. That means something. Yeonwoo shook his head. You don't understand. If people find out about my past, your reputation. We don't care about reputation more than we care about you being safe. Hansel cut him off. The words hit Yeonwoo like a physical blow. No one had ever chosen him over their own interests. No one had ever made him the priority. Just tonight, Yeonwoo whispered. I'll figure something out tomorrow. Okay, Jae-kyung said, though his eyes said he didn't believe the timeline any more than Yeonwoo did. They showed him to the guest room. Soft bed, clean sheets, a lock on the door if he wanted it. Hansel brought extra blankets. Jae-kyung left water on the nightstand. Small kindnesses that felt monumental. Thank you, Yeonwoo managed. Get some rest, Hansel said. We'll talk more in the morning. They left him alone. Yeonwoo lay in the dark, staring at the ceiling, trying to sleep. But his mind wouldn't stop replaying the man's threats, the twins' kindness, the way they'd looked at him in their bedroom 3 nights ago before everything shattered. 2 hours later, he gave up. The penthouse was dark except for soft light from the living room. Yeonwoo padded down the hallway in bare feet, expecting to find it empty. Both twins were awake, Hansel by the window, Jae-kyung on the couch. Neither had changed for bed. Can't sleep? Hansel asked without turning. No. Yeonwoo stopped at the edge of the room. You? We wanted to make sure you didn't try to leave, Jae-kyung admitted. Something in Yeonwoo's chest cracked. They'd stayed awake. For him. To keep him safe even from his own instinct to run. I wasn't going to leave, Yeonwoo said. Then more honestly, I don't have anywhere else to go. That's not the only reason to stay, Hansel said quietly. Their eyes met, and Yeonwoo saw it. The same hunger from 3 nights ago. The same want that had been interrupted before it could become something real. His body responded before his mind caught up. Scent shifting, slick beginning to gather, heat prickling along his spine. Both twins noticed. Their pupils dilated. Their breathing changed. Yeonwoo, Jae-kyung said carefully. You don't have to. I know. Yeonwoo stepped into the room, then another step, closer. I don't want to think about him anymore. About any of it. About threats or fires or the past. He stopped in front of them, close enough to feel their heat. Let me forget, Yeonwoo said. Just for tonight. This is selfish. I'm using you to forget everything hunting me. And I don't care. Hansel stood slowly. You're exhausted, vulnerable. We won't take advantage of that. I'm not asking you to take advantage. Yeonwoo reached out, fingers grazing Jae-kyung's jaw. I'm asking you to finish what we started 3 nights ago. His scent spiked. Want, need, desperation wrapped in desire. Jae-kyung's hand caught his wrist, gentle, firm. Are you sure this is what you need? Yes, Yeonwoo breathed. I need this. I need you. Jae-kyung's grip on his wrist tightened for a heartbeat, then released. Hansel moved first, closing the distance until Yeonwoo was bracketed between them. The scent of both alphas surrounded him, cedar and smoke mixing with his own desperate sweetness. Bedroom, Hansel said quietly. Not here. They led him down the hallway. The same bedroom from 3 nights ago. The same bed where everything had shattered. But this time, no phones would ring. No emergencies would steal him away. This time, he was choosing to stay. Hansel kissed him first, slow, thorough, tasting him like he had all the time in the world. Jae-kyung's hands found the hem of Yeonwoo's borrowed shirt, pulling it up and off in one smooth motion. Cool air hit Yeonwoo's skin, then heat as Jae-kyung's mouth found his neck. Teeth grazing the scent gland there. Not biting, not yet, just a promise of what could come. Yeonwoo's knees went weak. They guided him to the bed, laid him down on sheets that smelled like them. Hansel stripped off his own shirt while Jae-kyung worked Yeonwoo's pants down his hips, revealing skin and scars, and the evidence of how much he wanted this. Beautiful, Jae-kyung murmured, hands spreading Yeonwoo's thighs. Yeonwoo should have felt exposed, vulnerable. Instead, he felt seen in a way he'd never allowed before. Hansel joined them on the bed, fingers trailing down Yeonwoo's chest. Tell us if it's too much. We stop the second you say stop. Yeonwoo nodded, not trusting his voice. They started slow. Careful. Jae-kyung's fingers slick with oil, working him open with patience that felt like worship. 1 finger, 2. Yeonwoo's body stretched and burned, producing slick that eased the way, but couldn't erase the intensity of the stretch. Hansel kept his mouth busy, kissing, biting, marking Yeonwoo's collarbones and chest with bruises that would last days. More, Yeonwoo gasped. 3 fingers. The burn intensified. Yeonwoo's breath came in sharp gasps, pleasure mixing with the edge of pain. His body was made for this. Biology designed to take an alpha, but even biology had limits, and the twins were beyond normal limits. You're so tight, Jae-kyung said, voice strained. Even like this. 4 fingers. Yeonwoo cried out, back arching. Too much. Not enough. His body fought the intrusion even as slick poured from him, even as his cock leaked against his stomach. I can take it, Yeonwoo insisted through gritted teeth. We know, Hansel soothed. But we're going to make sure you can. They worked him for what felt like forever, stretching, preparing, making sure his body was as ready as it could be. When Jae-kyung finally withdrew his fingers, Yeonwoo whimpered at the loss. Ready? Jae-kyung asked, positioning himself. Yeonwoo looked down, saw exactly what he was about to take. His breath caught. This was insane. Impossible. He wanted it anyway. Yes. The first push made Yeonwoo's vision white out. The head alone stretched him wider than Jae-kyung's fingers had. His body resisted, muscles clenching in automatic protest. Breathe, Hansel coached, hand on Yeonwoo's chest. Relax. Let your body adjust. Yeonwoo forced air into his lungs, forced his muscles to unclench. Jae-kyung held perfectly still, giving him time. Another push, another inch. The burn was intense, walking the razor edge between pleasure and pain. Yeonwoo's hands fisted in the sheets, knuckles white. Too much? Jae-kyung asked, concern bleeding through his voice. No, don't stop. Because if they stopped now, Yeonwoo would still be thinking. Still be drowning in fear and shame and the past. He needed to drown in this instead. Jae-kyung moved deeper, slowly. So slowly Yeonwoo thought he'd lose his mind. His body stretched impossibly, accommodating what shouldn't fit. Slick helped, biology doing its best. But this was still borderline too much. When Jae-kyung finally bottomed out, fully seated, Yeonwoo couldn't breathe, couldn't think, could only feel the overwhelming fullness, the burn, the perfect, terrible pressure. God, Jae-kyung groaned, you're taking me so well. He started moving, small motions at first, letting Yanwu's body adjust. Then deeper rolls of his hips that dragged against places inside Yanwu that made stars burst behind his eyes. Hansel's hand wrapped around Yanwu's length, stroking in time with his twin's rhythm. The dual sensation pushed Yanwu toward the edge faster than he expected. "That's it," Hansel murmured. "Let go. Forget everything except this." Jaekyung's pace increased. Still careful, but harder. The sound of skin on skin filled the room. Yeonwoo's body yielded, stretched around impossible size, taking everything Jaekyung gave. His climax built like wildfire. Fast, devastating. When it hit, his body clenched around Jaekyung so hard the alpha cursed, hips stuttering. Yeonwoo felt him swell impossibly larger, felt the flood of heat as Jaekyung came, teeth sinking into Yeonwoo's shoulder. Not the mating gland, but close enough to mark him as claimed. Yeonwoo's scream was soundless, pleasure whiting out everything else. They stayed locked together, breathing hard. When Jaekyung finally pulled out, Yeonwoo felt the loss like a wound. His body ached, stretched beyond what should be possible. He could feel Jaekyung's release sliding out of him, obscene and perfect. "My turn," Hansel said quietly. Yeonwoo's eyes widened. His body was already trembling, oversensitive and raw. "I don't know if we can stop," Hansel offered. "You've already proven you can take us." But stopping meant thinking, meant remembering everything he was trying to forget. "No," Yeonwoo said. "I need you too." Hansel's eyes darkened. He moved with careful precision, arranging Yeonwoo on his side, spooning him from behind. The position was gentler, but Yeonwoo knew it wouldn't make Hansel any smaller. "Tell me if it's too much," Hansel murmured against his ear. Yeonwoo nodded, then felt the blunt pressure of Hansel against his already abused entrance. His body was still open from Jaekyung, still slick and stretched, but taking a second, Alpha pushed every limit. Hansel entered him in one slow, relentless push. Yeonwoo's cry was broken, overwhelmed. The stretch was just as intense, just as impossible. His body burned, protesting the intrusion even as it yielded. There was less resistance this time, but the fullness was no less devastating. "Fuck," Hansel breathed when he was fully seated. "You're perfect, so perfect for us." He started moving. The angle hit different places, dragged against nerves that were already oversensitized. Yeonwoo couldn't form words anymore, could only make broken sounds as Hansel claimed him thoroughly. Jaekyung moved in front of Yeonwoo, kissing him through the pleasure, swallowing his moans. One hand found Yeonwoo's cock again, stroking him back to hardness despite the overwhelming sensation. "Come for us again," Jaekyung commanded. "Show us how good we make you feel." Hansel's rhythm increased, harder, deeper. Each thrust pushed Yeonwoo further into Jaekyung's hand, trapped between them in the best possible way. His second climax tore through him like lightning. His body seized, clenching around Hansel impossibly tight. The alpha groaned, hips snapping forward one final time as he came, teeth finding Yeonwoo's other shoulder and marking him there too. Twin marks, twin claims, twin alphas who'd chosen him despite everything. Yeonwoo shattered completely. When Yeonwoo woke, he was alone. Morning light streamed through the windows. His body ached in ways that made every movement a reminder of what they'd done. The twins' marks stood out dark against his skin, possessive and permanent. Voices filtered through the closed door. Yeonwoo sat up slowly, wincing. The sheets beneath him were ruined, evidence of their night together impossible to hide. He pulled on discarded clothes and moved toward the door. "Asking questions about a fire," someone was saying. Not Hansel or Jaekyung. A third voice. Professional, clipped. 8 years ago, Omega trafficking ring that went up in flames. 7 dead. They're looking for survivors. Someone leaked information to a journalist. Yeonwoo's hand froze on the doorknob. "Why does this matter to us?" Hansel asked. "Because the journalist has been seen outside this building. Someone told them you're harboring an Omega with a connection to that night." Silence stretched. Then Jaekyung's voice, cold and sharp. "Find out who's talking." "Sir, if this goes public, your company's reputation—" "I don't care about reputation. Find out who leaked this and shut it down. Now." Footsteps. The sound of someone leaving. Then quiet. Yeonwoo stood frozen, heart pounding. His past was hunting him, and now it was hunting them too. He could confess, tell them the whole truth about what he'd done that night, risk losing the only people who'd ever made him feel worthy. Or he could run, disappear before the story broke, and drag them down with him. The door opened before he could decide. Hansel stood in the doorway, expression softening when he saw Yeonwoo. Then his eyes tracked to Yeonwoo's face, and something shifted. Recognition, understanding. "You heard," Hansel said quietly. It wasn't a question. "I heard everything," Yeonwoo said. Hansel closed the door behind him. Jae-kyung appeared from the living room, both twins watching Yeonwoo with careful expressions. "How much?" Jae-kyung asked. "Enough. A journalist. Questions about the fire. Someone told them I'm here." Yeonwoo's voice was steady despite the panic clawing at his throat. "I should leave before this gets worse." "No." Hansel crossed the room. "You're not running again. You don't understand what this means. If that story breaks with your names attached—" "We don't care," Jae-kyung interrupted. "Let them write whatever they want. We have lawyers, resources. We'll handle it." Yeonwoo shook his head. "You can't handle this. It's too big, too public. Then we make it go away." Hansel's hand found Yeonwoo's face, tilting it up gently. "You're safe here. We meant what we said last night. You're not doing this alone anymore." The tenderness in their voices nearly broke him. Yeonwoo wanted to believe them, wanted to lean into the safety they offered and pretend his past wouldn't destroy everything. But he knew better. "Okay," he lied. "I'll stay." 2 hours later, the twins left for an emergency board meeting. "We have to go," Hansel said, pulling on his suit jacket. "If we don't handle this now—" "I understand," Yeonwoo said. "Go. I'll be here when you get back." Jae-kyung kissed him at the door, quick, possessive. "Don't leave. Promise me." Yeonwoo smiled. "I promise." Another lie. The moment the elevator doors closed, Yeonwoo moved. He grabbed his old clothes, still dirty, but his. Left the borrowed ones folded on the bed. Wrote a note he didn't mean. "Thank you for everything. I'm sorry." He slipped out through the service entrance, avoiding cameras. Hit the street and kept walking until he found a safe alley. His hand shook as he dialed the number he'd memorized. The man answered on the second ring. "I was wondering when you'd call." "How dare you," Yeonwoo hissed. "I paid you everything. We had a deal." "We had a deal that you'd leave the city. You didn't. You're still here, playing house with those rich alpha boys." The man's voice was cold. "So the deal's off. I gave you 8 years of savings, and I gave you time. You wasted it. Now everyone gets to know what you really are. What you did." "I didn't." "Didn't what? Burn down that house? Kill 7 people? We both know the truth, Yeonwoo, and soon everyone else will too." The line went dead. Yeonwoo stared at the phone, ice flooding his veins, his vision blurred at the edges. This couldn't be happening, not now, not when he'd finally found something worth staying for. His burner phone buzzed with a news alert. "Breaking. Arsonist from 8-year-old trafficking ring fire identified." Yeonwoo's stomach dropped. His hands went numb. He clicked the link. His face filled the screen. An old photo from before the fire, before everything. The headline screamed in bold letters. "Omega wanted for 7 counts of murder. Kang Yeonwoo, 28, suspected of setting fatal fire." The article detailed everything. The trafficking ring, the house, the 7 people who died. Quotes from victims' families demanding justice. Police reopening the case after an anonymous tip. And at the bottom, one line that made Yeonwoo's blood turn to ice. Sources confirmed the suspect was recently seen with Baek Industries CEOs Hansel and Jae-kyung Baek. Across the city, Hansel's phone buzzed during the board meeting. He ignored it. Then Jae-kyung's phone buzzed. Then everyone's phone started going off at once. "What the hell?" someone muttered. Hansel pulled out his phone, saw the news alert, clicked it. Yeonwoo's face stared back at him. Omega wanted for murder. The words didn't make sense. Couldn't make sense. Yeonwoo had said he escaped the fire, that he was a victim, a survivor, not an arsonist, not a killer. "Meeting's over," Hansel said, standing abruptly. Jae-kyung was already moving, phone pressed to his ear. "Victor, get the car, now." They raced back to the penthouse, breaking every traffic law. Hansel's mind spun through everything Yunwoo had said, looking for the lie, finding it everywhere. He escaped. That's what Yunwoo had told them. There was a fire. 7 people died. I got out. Not I set the fire. Not I killed them. Just I got out. The truth hidden in carefully chosen words. The penthouse was empty when they arrived. Yunwoo's dirty clothes gone. A note on the bed. Hansel crumpled it without reading. He lied to us, Jae-kyung said quietly. He was scared. He's a murderer, Hansel. 7 people. He burned them alive and let us think he was just a victim. We don't know what happened that night. We don't know. A knock at the door cut him off. Both twins froze. Another knock, harder. NYPD, we need to ask you some questions about Kang Yunwoo. Hansel and Jae-kyung looked at each other, silent communication passing between them. They could cooperate. Tell the police everything. Give them Yunwoo's location if they even knew it. Protect their company, their reputation, their future, or they could lie. Protect the Omega who'd lied to them. Risk everything for someone who might not deserve it. The knock came again. Open up. We know he's been staying here. Hansel's hand closed around the door handle. Jae-kyung's hand covered his. Whatever we do it together. Together, Hansel agreed. He opened the door. 2 detectives stood in the hallway, badges out, expressions hard. Beck Hansel, Beck Jae-kyung, the first detective said. We have some questions about your relationship with Kang Yunwoo. Mind if we come in? Hansel stepped aside. Of course, but I'm afraid we don't know where he is. The truth. For once. The detectives entered, eyes scanning the penthouse like they were cataloging evidence. One of them noticed the rumpled bed, the faint scent of Omega still lingering in the air. When was the last time you saw him? The second detective asked. This morning, Jae-kyung said. He was here when we left for a meeting. And now he's gone. Apparently. You know he's wanted for murder. We just found out. Same time as everyone else. The first detective pulled out a notebook. We're going to need you to come down to the station. Answer some questions. Help us understand your connection to Mr. Kang. Are we being arrested? Hansel asked. Not yet, but harboring a fugitive is a serious crime. So I'd suggest you cooperate. The twins exchanged another look. We'll cooperate, Jae-kyung said. But we want our lawyer present. Of course. The detective smiled. It wasn't friendly. Call whoever you need, but you're coming with us. Now. The interrogation room smelled like stale coffee and lies. Hansel sat across from 2 detectives, hands folded on the metal table. They'd separated him from Jae-kyung an hour ago. Standard procedure, they'd said, to make sure their stories matched. Tell us again how you met Kang Yunwoo, the first detective said. Hansel had already told them twice. He told them a third time. The club, the proposition, the night Yunwoo came to their penthouse. And he told you he was a trafficking victim? Yes. Did he mention the fire? He said there was a fire, that 7 people died, that he escaped. Hansel met the detective's eyes. He never said he didn't cause it, but he also never said he did. Convenient omission. Or a scared Omega trying to survive. The second detective slid a folder across the table. Crime scene photos. Charred remains. Accelerant patterns on the floor. This wasn't an accident, the detective said. Whoever set this fire knew exactly what they were doing. Gasoline poured in multiple locations. Exits blocked. It was designed to kill. Hansel's stomach turned. He'd seen violence before. Built a company in a cutthroat industry. But this was different. This was premeditated. Brutal. We didn't know, Hansel said quietly. Didn't know or didn't want to know. We didn't know. They kept him another hour. Asked the same questions in different ways. Searched for cracks in his story. Found none, because he was telling the truth. Finally, they let him go. No charges, yet. But the threat hung in the air. Harboring a fugitive. Obstruction of justice. Accessory after the fact. Jae-kyung was waiting in the lobby, face carved from stone. They didn't speak until they reached the car. The media was waiting outside. Cameras, microphones, reporters shouting questions that felt like attacks. Mr. Beck, did you know Yunwoo was a murderer? How long were you harboring him? Is it true you were sexually involved with a wanted criminal? Their driver pushed through the crowd, got them into the car. The questions followed them even through the tinted windows. Jake Young's phone rang the moment they pulled away. He answered, listened. His jaw tightened. Stocks down 18%, he said when he hung up. The board wants an emergency meeting. 3 major investors pulled out. Media's calling us irresponsible, reckless, compromised. Hansel stared out the window, watched the city blur past. We're going to lose everything, Yekyung continued. The company we built. Our reputation, all of it, because we trusted the wrong person. He didn't have a choice, Hansel said. Don't! Jaekyung's voice went sharp. Don't defend him. He lied to us, used us, destroyed everything we worked for. He was 19 and being trafficked. Whatever he did, he killed 7 people, Hansel. 7. And then he climbed into our bed and let us think he was a victim. The words hung between them. Heavy. True. Hansel had no response. Across the city, Yeonwoo watched the news from a homeless shelter's common room. The twins' faces filled the screen. Walking out of the police station, reporters swarming them like vultures. The ticker at the bottom scrolling through the damage. Beck Industries stock plummets. Investors flee. CEOs under investigation. All because of him. Yeonwoo's hands shook. He'd done this. Again. Destroyed everything he touched. Everyone who tried to help him ended up burned. Literally the first time. Figuratively now. A woman next to him glanced at the TV, then at Yeonwoo. Her eyes widened, recognition dawning. Yeonwoo stood quickly, left before she could say anything, hit the street and kept walking. He couldn't stay in the city, couldn't keep hiding. Every moment he remained free, the twins suffered more. There was only one way to end this. Yeonwoo found a payphone, dialed the number for the local precinct. I want to turn myself in, he said when someone answered. My name is Kang Yeonwoo. I'm wanted for... His phone buzzed. Unknown number. A text. If you're going to confess, at least do it with an audience. Warehouse District. Pier 19. 1 hour. Come alone or I send the twins everything. Yeonwoo stared at the message. The man. Still playing games. Still trying to make him suffer. But maybe this was better. Maybe he could end it face to face. Give the man whatever closure he needed, then turn himself in. Yeonwoo hung up the payphone and headed for the warehouse district. The twins' phone buzzed simultaneously. Both looked down. Same message. Same unknown number. Your Omega is at Pier 19, Warehouse District. Thought you'd want to know before he disappears forever. It's a trap, Jae-kyung said. I know. We should call the police. Hansel was already moving toward the door. We should, but we won't. They drove in silence. The warehouse district was abandoned at this hour. Rusted buildings, broken windows, the kind of place where bad things happen. Yeonwoo stood in front of an old warehouse, shoulders hunched against the cold. He looked smaller than Hansel remembered, more breakable. Their car stopped, headlights cutting through the dark. Yeonwoo turned, saw them. His expression crumbled. Hansel and Ye-kyung got out, walked toward him slowly. You came, Yeonwoo said. His voice was hollow. Of course we came, Hansel replied. Why? I destroyed everything. Your company, your reputation, everything you built. You lied to us, Jae-kyung said. Not a question, an accusation. I didn't lie. I just didn't tell you the whole truth. 7 people died because of you. I know. Yeonwoo's voice cracked. I know. I've lived with that for 8 years, every day, every nightmare. I see their faces. I hear the screams. Then why? Hansel asked. Why set the fire? Because I was 19 and locked in a room, and they were selling me to anyone who had money. Because I'd rather die than spend another day in that hell. Because I found lighter fluid in a supply closet, and I thought if I just created enough chaos, I could run. Tears streamed down Yeonwoo's face now. I didn't know the staff were still inside. I didn't know the exits would trap them. I just wanted to escape. And when I got out and saw the flames, saw people at the windows, his voice broke completely. I ran anyway, because I'm a coward. Silence stretched between them. I'm turning myself in, Yeonwoo said. Tonight. I'll tell them you didn't know. That I lied. You'll be clear. Your company will recover. You think it's that simple? Jae-kyung's voice was cold. You think we can just forget? I don't think you'll forget. I think you'll hate me. And you should. Yeonwoo stepped back. But at least you'll be free of me. He turned to walk away, far away from the twins who stood frozen. Did you really think I'd let you choose how this ends? The voice came from the shadows. The man stepped into the light, older, scarred, smiling. And he wasn't alone. Police sirens wailed in the distance, getting closer. I called them, the man said. Told them exactly where to find the murderer and his accomplices. Yeonwoo's blood turned to ice. You said you wanted me gone, not arrested. I wanted you to suffer. This? The man gestured at the twins. This is suffering. The sirens were close now. Too close. The handcuffs closed around Yeonwoo's wrists like a death sentence. He didn't fight, didn't protest. Just let the officers pull him toward the squad car while Hansel and Jae-kyung stood frozen, watching everything fall apart. You can't take him, Hansel said, finding his voice too late. We have a warrant, one officer replied. Step back, sir. The man who'd threatened Yeonwoo stood in the shadows, smiling. 8 years of waiting. Finally worth it. Jae-kyung lunged toward him. Hansel caught his twin's arm, holding him back. Not here, Hansel said quietly. Not like this. They watched the squad car drive away, taking Yeonwoo into a darkness he might never escape. The penthouse felt like a tomb. Hansel poured whiskey he didn't drink. Jae-kyung paced like a caged animal. Neither spoke for an hour. Finally, Jae-kyung's phone rang. The board chair, demanding an emergency meeting. They went, sat through 2 hours of accusations and ultimatums. Distance yourselves publicly. Denounce him. Save the company. No, Hansel said. The board chair blinked. Excuse me? We're not abandoning him. He's a murderer. Your association with him has cost us millions. Investors are fleeing. The media is destroying our reputation. I don't care, Jae-kyung said, standing. We're not throwing him away to save our stock price. Then you're both fools. Maybe they were, but they'd rather be fools than cowards. They left the meeting, went straight to Hansel's lawyer. I want the case files, Hansel said. Everything about the fire 8 years ago. Why? The lawyer asked. Because something doesn't add up. Jae-kyung hired a forensic expert, a private investigator. Threw money at the problem like they threw money at everything, hoping this time it would be enough. 3 days passed. The company bled value. The media circus grew. And Yeonwoo sat in a cell, refusing to see anyone, refusing a lawyer, refusing to fight, like he'd already given up. On the 4th day, Hansel's phone rang. Unknown number. Mr. Baek? A young voice. Male, shaking. My name is Kim Ji-ho. I need to talk to you about Kang Yeonwoo. About the fire. Hansel's heart stopped. Who are you? I'm the one who said it. Please. I need to meet with you. I can't let him die for something I did. The young man who walked into their office an hour later looked like he might shatter if someone spoke too loud. 19, maybe 20. Thin. Eyes that looked older than they should. Thank you for seeing me, Ji-ho said, sitting on the edge of the chair like he might run at any moment. You said you set the fire, Jae-kyung said. No preamble. No patience left. I did. 8 years ago. I was 11 years old. The room went silent. 11? Hansel repeated. Ji-ho nodded. I was taken when I was 9. Held in that house for 2 years. I was locked in a storage room most of the time. One day I found lighter fluid under the sink. I didn't think. I just... His voice cracked. I wanted out. I poured it everywhere. Lit a match. I thought it would just make smoke. Create chaos so I could run. Tears streamed down his face. I didn't know it would spread that fast. Didn't know people were still inside. Didn't know. He broke. Completely. I killed them. Not Yeonwoo. Me. Hansel moved around the desk. Sat beside Ji-ho. What happened after? The fire was everywhere. I was trapped. Screaming. Then Yeonwoo found me. He pulled me out through a window. Got me to the street. I was crying, saying I was sorry. That I killed everyone. Ji-ho wiped his face with shaking hands. Yeonwoo looked at me and said, You're 11 years old. You don't get to carry this. He told me to run, to find help, to live a good life. He said he'd handle it, that no one would come after a kid. He took the blame for you, Jae-kyung said quietly. He saved my life twice, once from the fire, once from prison. Ji-ho looked between them. I went into foster care, got therapy, finished school. I'm in college now. I have a future because Yeonwoo gave me one. Why come forward now? Hansel asked. Because I saw the news, saw him being arrested, saw what it's doing to both of you. And I realized I'm not a scared kid anymore. I'm 19. I can face what I did. Ji-ho pulled out a folder. I have details, things only the person who set the fire would know. Where I poured the fluid, what I used to light it, the window Yeonwoo broke to get me out. Hansel took the folder. His hands shook. Will this be enough? Ji-ho asked. To prove he didn't do it? It's a start, Jae-kyung said. He pulled out his phone. Called their lawyer. Get to the office now. We have new evidence. 2 hours later, they stood outside the detention center where Yeonwoo was being held. The lawyer had taken Ji-ho's statement, verified details against the case files, found inconsistencies in Yeonwoo's confession, proof that he'd been covering for someone else all along. They could free him, clear his name, expose the truth. But first, they needed to tell him. The guard led them to a visiting room. Gray walls, metal table. Yeonwoo on the other side of reinforced glass, looking like a ghost. He saw them and flinched. You shouldn't be here. We found him, Hansel said. Ji-ho, he came to us. Yeonwoo's face drained of color. No. He told us everything, that he set the fire, that you took the blame to protect him. He was 11 years old, Yeonwoo said, voice rising. A child. He didn't deserve to go to prison for trying to survive. Neither did you, Jae-kyung said. I made a choice. A choice we're going to undo. Hansel leaned forward. We have proof, testimony, evidence that clears you. We can get you out. No. Yeonwoo stood abruptly. Don't, please. He's 19 now. He has a future, a life. If you bring him into this, he brought himself into this, Hansel interrupted, because he couldn't live with you rotting in here for something he did. I won't let him confess. I won't let you destroy him to save me. Why? Jae-kyung's voice cracked. Why do you think your life is worth less than his? Yeonwoo looked at them through the glass, eyes empty, defeated. Because he was innocent, and I'm not. I don't count myself as pure anymore. Silence stretched between them, heavy, unbearable. You saved a child, Hansel said quietly. That doesn't make you guilty. That makes you a hero. You didn't burn anything. You pulled a terrified kid out of a fire and gave him a chance to heal. Hansel's hand pressed against the glass. Let us give you the same chance. Yeonwoo's eyes filled with tears. I can't. You can, Jae-kyung said. You just have to choose to. Yeonwoo walked out of the detention center into sunlight he'd stopped believing in. 2 weeks. That's how long it took for Ji-ho's confession to work through the legal system, for forensic experts to prove the timeline didn't match Yeonwoo's story, for a judge to declare him innocent of all charges. Ji-ho received probation and mandatory therapy. The media called Yeonwoo a hero, said he'd sacrificed 8 years to protect a traumatized child. Hansel and Jae-kyung waited at the gates. Yeonwoo climbed into their car and said nothing the entire ride home. Freedom didn't feel the way he'd imagined. The first night back, Yeonwoo stood at the penthouse window, staring at the city lights until dawn. Hansel found him there around 5 in the morning. You should sleep. I keep thinking someone's going to realize they made a mistake. They didn't. You're free. Really free. Yeonwoo's reflection in the glass looked like a stranger. What am I supposed to do now? Whatever you want. The problem was Yeonwoo didn't know what that meant anymore. He'd spent 8 years surviving. He didn't know how to just live. Over the next few days, the twins tried to help him adjust. Took him shopping for clothes that actually fit. Made him eat real meals. Suggested trips and plans and futures that felt impossible. We could go somewhere, Jae-kyung offered on the 3rd day. Get out of the city, just the 3 of us. I don't have a passport. We'll get you one. Yeonwoo looked at them, saw the hope in their eyes, the desperate need to fix what was broken. Maybe, he said, knowing he was lying. On the 5th day, Jae-kyung had an emergency board meeting. Hansel had calls with investors trying to salvage what the scandal had destroyed. They didn't want to leave Yonwoo alone. "I'll be fine," Yonwoo insisted. "I need to prove I can exist in the world again." Reluctantly, they agreed. Yonwoo waited until they left, then grabbed his coat. He needed air, needed to walk through the city as a free man instead of a fugitive. The coffee shop was quiet when he entered. Afternoon lull between lunch and dinner rushes. He ordered tea and sat by the window, watching people pass by with their normal problems and normal lives. He could have that now. Maybe. The door opened. A man entered. Yanwoo glanced up. His blood turned to ice. The man who'd threatened him stood in the doorway. Same face, same cold eyes. But something was different, something broken. Their eyes met. The man's face twisted with rage and anguish. "You!" Yonwoo stood slowly. Other customers were starting to notice, starting to whisper. "I know what you're thinking," the man said, voice shaking. "And you're right. I saw the news. I know the truth now." "Then you know I didn't. You lied." The man's shout made everyone freeze. 8 years. I spent 8 years believing you murdered them, hating you, destroying my own life, trying to destroy yours. I was protecting a child. You should have told the truth from the beginning. You made me into this. You turned me into a monster." The man's hand went into his coat pocket. "This is your fault, all of it." Yanwoo saw the knife before anyone else did. The man lunged before he could run. The blade hit Yanwoo's chest. Once, twice, a third time before someone tackled the man from behind. Yanwoo stumbled backward, hit a table, slid to the floor. The pain came in waves, hot and sharp and everywhere. Someone was screaming, calling for help, holding pressure on his wounds. His phone was buzzing in his pocket. Hansel's name on the screen. He couldn't reach it. The world started fading at the edges. Hansel's phone rang while he was in a meeting with the legal team. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer. "Mr. Beck?" A woman's voice, shaking. "You're someone named Yanwoo. He's been hurt. They're taking him to Mount Sinai. You need to come now." The phone fell from Hansel's hand. He and Yaekyung broke every traffic law getting to the hospital, ran through the emergency entrance, found chaos. A nurse stopped them. "Are you family?" "Yes," Hansel lied without hesitation. "He's in surgery. Multiple stab wounds to the chest and abdomen. The doctors are doing everything they can." 2 hours felt like decades. Finally, a surgeon emerged. Her face told them everything before she spoke. "We've stopped the bleeding, repaired what we could, but the damage to his internal organs was extensive." She paused. "He's asking for you, but you should prepare yourselves. His body is shutting down." They ran. The ICU was too bright, too clean, too much like the end. Yeonwoo lay in the bed, pale as the sheets beneath him. Machines beeped around him, keeping track of a life slipping away. His eyes opened when they entered. A small smile crossed his face. "You came." Hansel grabbed his hand like he could physically hold Yeonwoo to this world. Jaekyung stood on the other side, both of them shaking. "Of course we came," Jaekyung said. "You're going to be okay. The doctor said..." "Don't." Yeonwoo's voice was soft, tired. "I can feel it. It's okay." "It's not okay," Hansel said. His voice cracked. "You just got free. We were supposed to have time. We had 5 days. That's more than I thought I'd get." Yeonwoo's eyes focused on their faces like he was memorizing them. "Can I tell you something? Anything?" Yeonwoo took a shallow breath. "I've been thinking about what I wanted to say if I ever got the chance. There were things I dreamed about. Stupid things, probably." "They're not stupid," Jaekyung said. "I wanted to go back to school, finish that nursing degree I gave up on." Yeonwoo's smile was sad. "I thought maybe I could help people. Make up for all the damage I caused." "You saved a child," Hansel said. "You already helped people. I wanted to wake up one morning and not be afraid. Just once. I wanted to know what that felt like." His breathing was getting harder. "I wanted to cook breakfast with you, argue about stupid things, fall asleep watching movies." Tears ran down his face. "I wish I'd met you before the fire, before everything broke. We could have had years, real years. We'll have them, Jae-kyung insisted desperately. You're going to make it through this. I'm so tired of fighting. Youngwoo looked between them. I just wanted to live. Not survive. Just live. With you. The monitors beeped slower. Thank you, Yeonwoo whispered, for those 3 weeks, for choosing me when no one else would, for making me feel like I mattered. You do matter, Hansel said, gripping his hand tighter. Please don't leave us. Not afraid anymore. Yeonwoo's eyes were closing. You made me feel human again. That's enough. His hand went slack. The monitor flatlined. Medical staff rushed in, but Hansel and Jae-kyung knew it was over. Kang Yeonwoo died at 4:47 p.m., 5 days after walking free. 3 months later, the twins stood at the penthouse window where Yeonwoo had stood that last morning. The city moved on, indifferent. They'd established a scholarship fund in his name for trafficking survivors who wanted to pursue nursing. His dream, given to others. Jiho had visited once, sobbing, carrying guilt that wasn't his to carry. The man who killed Yeonwoo sat in prison, broken, insisting it was Yeonwoo's fault for lying. And the twins stood in the space where Yeonwoo should have been. His marks still scarred their shoulders. Proof he'd existed, that those 3 weeks were real. We found him, Hansel said quietly. We freed him, Jae-kyung added. But we only got 3 weeks. 3 weeks wasn't enough. It would never be enough. The end, Yeonwoo spent 8 years protecting a child's future, but only got 5 days to live his own. If this story broke your heart, please like this video and let me know in the comments. Did Yeonwoo deserve a happy ending, or was this the only way his story could end? Subscribe for more heartbreaking BL stories where love isn't always enough to save you, because sometimes the people who save everyone else can't save themselves.